I'm very happy to announce the next speaker, Ludwig Ehlert from Data, who will talk about Build the Future, Build Data Products. After successfully completing his bachelor's degree and master's degree in water management at TU Dresden and his master's degree in environmental technology at Luleå University of Technology in Sweden, Ludwig Ehlert gained his first experience in a software environment at DHI. Afterwards, he started as a product consultant at Tableau, where he worked as lead solutions engineer for more than 7 years. Since 2023, he now supports Data as a director solution engineering with his broad technological knowledge and expertise in customer contact. Please welcome Ludwig Ehlert.
Thank you very much. All right. Welcome everyone. Very happy to be here. Let's give you a short introduction in what we are caring about at Data. Decisions. Decisions is the main job which our business users have to do every day. So we are forcing them, or we're putting them into positions that they are ultimately responsible of the success of the company and their goals. And over the last 10 years, we have seen a tremendous development in BI and analytics technology, which is supposed to support these business users taking these decisions, preferably using data. But before we get into the small challenges and me asking you as well, if you think this is actually already happening and this is reliably happening, that business users take decisions based on data, let's give you another short introduction to myself, because I did not know that there's such an in-depth introduction to me. So as we said, I'm since about 9 years in the software industry, have been a long time at Tableau supporting various businesses in various industries, getting mature with business intelligence and analytics. And now, since a short time, I'm working for Data, trying to bring the concept of building data products to the world. Let's do a small mind experiment. Let's assume that in a not too far future from now, we have actually managed to find somewhere in this universe a planet where there's enough water which can support life. So probably at some point, there's a biosphere engineer, or whatever they are called at that point, tasked with putting plants on that planet in order to generate oxygen for us, which we can use to live there, potentially as an alternative to what we have at home. We can imagine the engineer is very keen, very knowledgeable in what he has to do, and he has water as a resource, but probably needs to work with the soil in order to make it usable for the plants to grow in there. So he needs some fertilizer. Simple as that. So the assumption is the user would go, take a look in his online shop, order some fertilizer from Earth, and it's flown to him with the next spacecraft. So he can use the right product in the right shape, with the reliability of knowledge that what he is getting delivered is actually what he needs. If we transfer this to our business world, what do you think is happening when we are trying to take a decision, maybe as crucial as bringing plants to life and a far away from here planet, trying to get data in order to support our decisions? Is it as easy as going into an online shop and saying, I need a specific piece of data in order to support my decisions? Well, not really. The reality is much more complicated. If you're a business user, you're interested in taking data-driven decisions, and you have all the analytics tooling at your availability, you're still very, very quickly confronted with an incredible amount of technicalities, system-specific knowledge which you don't have, which you need to acquire from someone else. Transferring it back to our story of our out-of-space engineer trying to make plants grow is like almost the same like he would get the telephone number of the lab technician back at Earth to call him up and say, look, I want to do X, Y, and Z. Please give me the formula of what fertilizer I need to do. They will probably find ultimately a solution like we do in the everyday business world. We have a conversation with our database admins, we have a conversation with our data engineers, and even though they're completely overloaded, because everyone is doing the same like we do, they ultimately deliver you a piece of data which you can use to support your decisions. But what we actually would like to have is a product. We would like a simple-to-use product where you know that quality assurance has happened, you know that it's still valid, you know that it arrives at time. You also know that when you search for that product in a specific place, you find it. So our thought in this direction is, why don't we treat data the same way? Why don't we add more components to the pieces of data or the packages of data we request from our data engineers and treat them like products, like data products, as you will say. So how do we define a data product? And this is my perspective on that. If you go out and talk to ThoughtWorks, they probably can give you much more detail on what actually makes a data product a data product. But to summarize it, there are a couple of elements. There's the fact that this data product needs to be understandable. Probably every one of us has at some point received a CSV or text file with complete gibberish and abbreviations and technical IDs and so on in order to find a solution to a problem we have, and we had to go around tree to find the translation of what we're actually looking at. It needs to be discoverable, you need to go find it, you need to be able to trust it, that it's quality assured, that it's secure, that you don't get data which you're not supposed to get, and that you're not creating the next big compliance case for your organization when you start using that and creating analytics on top of it. Many more aspects are relevant, and it is super important if we start thinking about these data packages in that way. Gartner, the leading analyst in the BI area, is actually predicting that if we start treating our data packages as data products with all these aspects which are listed above, they would gain up to 80% the speed of operation that we're currently at. Because it's just making it so much easier to work with trust with the data, where you don't have to do your quality assurance on your own, and you know that what you get in your inbox is actually something you can use. So what do? Well, we are preparing a platform which is supporting the entire life cycle of data products. And it actually doesn't start with the end consumer, it starts with the engineer, which needs to understand what data is actually available in your organization. And logically for us, we all speak about the data landscape of the organization. And we thought, well, if we speak about data landscape, let's put it in a map. And yeah, you might see coming up now, we are very, very keen on hexagons, so don't get alarmed. It's not just like a tick we have, it actually makes sense to use hexagons in order to display relations and gravitational habits and also proximity of data themes and data content to each other. And we are placing them, giving them hierarchies, sorting them according to the business or to the organizational structure and so forth. And even more, we are not only doing the location, but we also speak about, or we also map out the relations between them. The easiest relations are what is defined in the databases. We have our foreign key constraints and primary keys and all these aspects which make the database tick and work on its own. But where it gets tricky is the implicit relationships which are between different systems. Like we know that we can't sell a product in the CRM as long as it's not existing in some form of ERP system. And most of the time, like, this is evident to everyone and it's implicitly clear, but it's not mapped, it's nowhere documented. Maybe in a good sorted and well maintained data catalog, you find that information, but it really gets really quickly spotty when you go outside of the common domains. So we map this out. We give you the opportunity to do this manually and prepare for later on usable synergy effects when others, which have to prepare the same thing, can understand on our map what information are in there and what relations are in there. But we also give you an AI assistant who is understanding your data landscape and is coming to you and say, look, I found this match between two records. I'm 80% sure. Do you think that this is something which is valid? Can you please approve it? So we are trying to support this life cycle and this work with AI functionality. So now we understood our data landscape, and now we want to go one step further. We want to build data products and deliver them to the end user. And also there, within our platform, you can use a workflow engine, which is giving you the ability to, first of all, utilize many of the standardized tooling and processors which you typically would use to make simple joins, to make unions, and so on. But also integrate your favorite scripting languages. Maybe even your machine learning models which you want to put in order to enrich a data set and deliver it to your end user. And you combine this all in the same space. You can have this versioned, you can have this controlled. You can be, along this lineage, always sure that quality and compliance is looked at. And of course, this thing is not happening once. It's not just one time that you do that and afterwards you can forget about it. No, a data product is something which is living, which is constantly updated, but it also needs to be tracked in the process from request to delivery. And for that, we give you the tooling in place. We look at the life cycle. We check that you know what happens when you put in a request to get data prepared for you. How long does it take? In what stage is it ready to ship or not? We look at the security of things. You are the owner of the data products you requested and received, and you're in charge of giving access to other users on that asset. Because who can better decide who is supposed to see that than you as the domain expert in this field, and you as the one who knows what came into this product. And lastly, of course, quality. Quality needs to be checked, quality needs to be monitored, and you need to be alerted in case that there's something going on with your quality, either on your asset or potentially upstream, where a certain quality check failed on some element in the process of getting you your data product. So to summarize that, we are providing you a platform which is called Data Product Builder, which looks at the entire life cycle from source system all the way to data product, which makes it easy for the business user to communicate and work together with technical users, and which is broad and can integrate many, many different platforms and source systems and transformation tools which you have in your landscape in order to give the business user the best experience they can have and to speed up the process of getting data to the business user so they can support their data-driven decisions with that. And of course, now you'd say, yeah, that's nice. You told a nice story, that's great in theory, but is there actually something, or is there already a case where companies are adopting this and using this? And yeah, there are. We have two great examples. The first one is ThyssenKrupp, one of the largest steel manufacturer or raw steel producer in Germany. And they were facing a significant challenge that they have so many different locations, production locations, which were either built by them with specific purposes in mind or were acquired from other organizations. So they ended up with 35 different ERP systems and 35 ERP systems managing their own inventory and no synergy between them. So you had such a high value bound in this operation that they had to combine all of that in a product which is a data product which is allowing them to actively and proactively manage inventory, and it helped them to massively increase their net working capital so they can invest in other things and don't have basically raw steel or money bound in raw steel laying in their stockyards. The other example is Schott. Schott is responsible for many of the glassware we are using every day, from simple drinking glasses up to highly industrial applications. And what they managed is they used a data mesh concept. So they reached the point before they spoke to us. They consider that it's not worth anymore to harmonizing and moving data all in one data warehouse. It was just like a task which they didn't believe could be ever fulfilled. And they went first to the data mesh concept, deployed it, defined ownerships, and then I said, but now we need to combine information. We need a platform where we can do that. One example is they're using our platform to train a data product, which is allowing them to deploy settings for glass rollings machines, which are smart and learn from historical mistakes they made and from historical optimization tasks they have to do manually at the machine. So if there's a new job, a new batch started at this glass rolling machine, the end user is getting on the screen the information, what settings he has to put in, and which have the highest likelihood to produce quality output. So what can you do today? we believe that we all need to take a step forward. You need to do this leap of faith in order to move away from spending time over and over again in this tedious conversations trying to figure out what data is relevant for you and start thinking in data products. As Neil Armstrong would probably say, the Neil Armstrong of data products, it's just a small step for you, but it might be a giant leap for the company. With that, I'm already coming to an end. Very happy that I had your attention, and I hope I got inspired you. If you want to know more about what we actually do, we are going to launch our product officially the 10th of October. If you use the QR code, you can sign up. It's an online event. It's very informative, great customer speakers as well. Potentially even Schott is going to be there to tell their story with us. And then lastly, if you're getting thirsty, because it's already 4 o'clock, we do have beer at our booth outside. And if you want to have a little sip and learn more about it, please step by. It's actually our own beer, and the name of the recipe is derived from data. So I'm happy to tell that story when you step by. And until then, thank you for your attention.